proud to be here. As I was walking here, I thought to myself, just how many marches have I done in my life? And I thought about the words of a woman, Mother Pollard, who belonged to Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King Jr.'s church. She would always give him words of encouragement. And during the Montgomery bus boycott, she was interviewed. She was an elderly woman. And they were asking her, well, how can you keep walking? Don't your feet hurt? And she said, oh yeah. She said, my feet is tired, but my soul is resting. And that's how I feel now. And it's so good not to march and to walk alone. I'm also a professional cultural diversity trainer, and I've done more training in the past 3 weeks. I think, used to be you couldn't give this stuff away. And the hunger now, and to see it called out, to actually see signs, yes, that say Black Lives Matter, but to also see signs that say white silence is complicity. And that's what I see. And that's my hope as I look around this world and I hear these calls, Black Lives Matter, Black Lives Matter. What I'm really seeing on the news is a lot of people, and many of them white, saying white supremacy's got to go. Put that on your sign. I was asked to put Juneteenth into context. And I won't take long, but I can't give you the Juneteenth speech that I know is given a lot of places about us rejoicing that slavery ended. Because that's not the truth.
Come on. Come on.
It's just not the truth.
Come on.
So, listen up. It may mess with some of your realities and the stories that you might have been told in your history classes. But if you doubt any word that I am saying, just go look it up. And I am not known to be one to read from notes, but just to make sure that I don't misquote anything.
Come on.
I want to read the exact words. So there are a few myths that have to be debunked. One, in order to understand Juneteenth, one is that we fought the Civil War to end slavery. Myth number one. Myth number two, that the proclamation, that the Emancipation Proclamation freed the slaves. Myth number three, that the 13th Amendment ended slavery. None are true. It is true that we fought the Civil War to stop the spread of slavery. But that's very different. We fought it because in the Missouri Compromise, all the West was about to open up. And the Union knew that if those particular states were in fact slave states, the Union didn't stand a chance economically. Just breathe that in for a moment. We did not fight the Civil War to end slavery, and I will give you Abraham Lincoln's exact words that he wrote in a letter to Horace Greeley for the New York Tribune. He said, "My paramount objective is this: the struggle to save the Union, and it is not either to save or destroy slavery. If I could save the Union without freeing any slave, I would do it. And if I could save it by freeing all of the slaves, I would do it. And if I could save it by freeing some and leaving others alone, I would do that too. What I do about slavery and the colored race, I do because I believe it helps to save the Union." Period. End of report. The Emancipation Proclamation was issued January the 1st, 1963. At the point in time when the Union was losing the war. It was issued at the point in time when Western European nations like Germany and France were about to recognize the Confederacy as a legitimate nation and start to enter into trade agreements with them. That would have put the Union in very deep doo-doo. Because all of the goods were coming up from the South. The cotton, the tobacco, the things for the mills, and the factories of the North. The Emancipation Proclamation did not free the slaves. Very explicitly, and it even says, as a matter of military expediency, what Abraham Lincoln did was declare free all of the slaves in the territories that were rebel. Not all the slaves. If your state was not rebelling against the Union, you got to keep your slaves. And it wasn't even states, so that when you look at it, it's only one page. It actually names the territory. So parts of Louisiana, not other parts of Louisiana, but the point of the matter is that the Emancipation Proclamation did not free the slaves. That was not the point. The point was to try to break the economic back of the South. To free their slaves so that their slaves would go into insurgency, would fight against their masters. They would not have the labor force that they needed to get the work done. It was a political tactic. No more and no less. It was not about a moral issue. It left everybody else intact in slavery. Breathe that in. So where Juneteenth comes along is that 2.5 years at the end of the Civil War ended in May 1865. So in June 19, 1865, the slaves in Texas finally got told that they had been freed. 2.5 years later, when the Union Army rolls in and informs them of that, June 19th, which we have come to call Juneteenth. Too many people associate Juneteenth with the ending of slavery. This is not true. Yes, Juneteenth freed the existing slaves, but it did not end the institution of slavery. I quote for you the 13th Amendment. There have been movies about it and books about it. Check it out. It reads, neither slavery nor involuntary servitude, except as punishment for a crime.
Come on.
It leaves it intact as an institution to still be there as punishment for a crime. Not even a big crime, just any old crime. A crime whereof the party shall be duly convicted shall exist in the United States or any place subject to their jurisdiction. Neither slavery nor involuntary servitude, except this punishment for crime wherefore the party shall have been duly convicted, shall exist within the United States or any place subject to their jurisdiction. So here's what happened, my brothers and sisters. Slavery just morphed. It went from private property to collective property. That black folks went from being the slaves of individual people to the slaves of the state. Property and wards of the state. And it was at this juncture that the criminalization of blackness happened. And it still continues today. So I contend we need to stop this rhetoric about slavery having ended. We need to stop this rhetoric about what happened to the system. The system is broken. Ain't nothing wrong with the system. It's doing exactly what it was designed to do. This is the system. Let's take off the rose-colored glasses. Let's quit patting ourselves on the back for all the things that we think we've already done, because it hasn't happened yet. Let us go forth from here with a new, bold determination to build the nation that we can be. All of that about endowed by our Creator and born equal. They were seeds of promise that yet to have found fertile ground. There's nothing wrong with those seeds. Those seeds are the truth. And like the old folks used to say, the truth will be told even if it takes a liar to tell it. Don't give up on the seeds and the dreams just because the people who wrote it weren't smart enough or had the capacity to bring it into fruition. That's ours to do. Let us stand boldly, let us stand collectively, and create the foundation, because the founding fathers did not imagine this day. They did not imagine an interfaith, multicultural, co-gender, multi-gender, anything. But this is the America we want. This is the America that we want to see. It's time to end slave states, free states, one nation, under God, respecting us all. Let's do this thing.